Hello everyone, welcome to the history class. Students, in this video I'll be starting with a new theme, that is theme 6 of class 11 history, the three orders. So let me introduce the chapter to you. The three orders in this chapter will be studying about the socio-economic and political changes that occurred in the Western Europe between 9th and 16th century. The three orders here means the focus will be on the three social categories: Christian priest, land-owning nobles, and the peasantry class, and the changing relationship between these three groups. So let's start the topic. The three orders. After the fall of the Roman Empire, many groups of Germanic people from the Eastern and the Central Europe occupied regions of Italy, Spain, and France. And there was an absence of the unifying political force. Military conflict was frequent among these groups, and the need to gather resources to protect one's land became very important task for them. So the social organization was therefore centered on the control of land. When the Romans were ruling, they have adopted Christianity as their official religion, though the empire declined, but the religion survived and gradually spread to the Central and Northern Europe also. The church also became a major landholder and political power in Europe. The three orders are the three social categories, that is of Christian priests, land-owning nobles, and the peasantry class. There are different sources, a lot of material in the form of documents, details of land ownership, prices, and legal cases. For example, churches kept record of births, marriages, and death, which have made it possible to understand the structure of families and of population. Moreover, inscriptions in churches give information about traders' association, and songs and stories give a sense of festivals and community activities. Of many scholars in the France who have worked on feudalism, one of the earliest was Bloch. So the Marc Bloch was one of the group of scholars who argued that history consists of much more than just political history. So they emphasized on the importance of geography in shaping human history and the need to understand the collective behavior of the attitudes of groups of people. So there is not only one single factor which is responsible for the people's behavior, their attitude. There are many more factors that need to be considered, right? So besides political history, the emphasis should be given on social and cultural history also. So let me introduce feudalism, this term to you. The term feudalism is used by historians to describe the economic, legal, political, and social relationship that existed in Europe in medieval era. It is a German word. It came from a German word called feud, which means piece of land. It refers to a kind of society France was having, and then the same was seen in England and southern Italy also. In economic sense, it refers to a kind of agricultural production relationship which is based on relationship between lord and the peasants. This is a rough structure of the feudal society, means the leading members were king, no doubt dominating the society. Then came the nobles and lords, who were the feudal lords, means the king, instead of paying salaries to the nobles or ministers, he used to give a piece of land from his empire or kingdom, right? And then the appearance of a new warrior group called the knights. They serve the king and the nobles, and the lowest strata was of the peasantry class, who were engaged in agricultural and other activities. Now the three orders. French priests believed in the concept that people were the members of the three orders depending on their work. So they emphasized on the nature of the work one person is pursuing that decides his position in the society. The three orders of the society were clergy, nobility, and peasantry class. The first order was of clergy. Catholic Church had its own laws, or their own lands given it to by rulers, and could levy taxes. So they were the owners of the lands which they have received from the rulers, and they can use these land. They levy taxes on it. The Christians in Europe were guided by bishops and clerics, who constitutes the first order, means the clergy group. Most of the villages had their own churches where the people assembled on Sunday together to listen to the priest and to pray together. Women could not become priests, and men who become priests could not marry. So this was a rule of the church. The use of term Lord for God is taken from the feudal elite. This picture is showing the Pope or the church members. They are giving blessings to the people. The second order was of nobility. Priests placed themselves in the first order, means that the highest order of the society, and nobles in the second. The big landowners, the nobles, were the vassals of the king, and the peasants were the vassals of the landowners. So they followed a vassalage system, means the nobles comes under the kings and the peasantry class comes under the nobles. The nobles was the lord of the people who settled in his land, and the noble's house was called manor. His private land was cultivated by the peasants, means whatever the land noble received from the king in lieu of his salary, that land becomes the property of the noble, and they were called feudal lords. They can influence their property, they can have their residential palace there, and that residential house is called manor. The people who are living in that property becomes his property. So the peasantry class who were part of any noble's property, they were supposed to serve their lords, these nobles. In the social hierarchy, priests and nobles were on the top. This is because they controlled land. This control was the outcome of practice called vassalage. The big landowners, nobles, were vassals of the king, and the peasants were the vassal of the landowners. The nobleman accepted the king as his seigneur, which means senior, and they made a mutual promise. The senior or the lord would protect the vassal, who would be loyal to him. This relationship involved elaborate rituals and exchange of vows taken on the Bible in a church at a ceremony. So this was a trusted relationship where the vassalage is protected by the Lord, and the vassal has to be loyal to the Lord. The vassal received a written charter or a staff or even a clod of earth as a symbol of land that was being given to him by his master. The noble enjoyed a privileged status. He had absolute control over his property. He could raise troops called feudal levies. The lord held his own courts of justice and could even coin his own money. So these were the privileges the lords were enjoying at that time. They completely become the master of that property. They can do anything on their property. They can issue coins. They can held courts, give justice. Everything is decided by them. He was the lord of all the people settled on his land. He owned vast tracts of land which contained his own dwellings. His house was called manor, His private lands were cultivated by the peasants who were also expected to act as a foot soldier in battle whenever it is required. So, in addition to the working on their own farms, so these were the liabilities, these were the duties of the peasants. They need to serve in the army whenever the lord requires. They need to cultivate the lands of the lords besides their own lands. So these were the expected duties of the peasants of that time. Now the third order was of peasant. Cultivators were of two kinds, free peasants and serfs. Free peasants held their farms as tenants of the lord. The men had to render military service at least 40 days every year. So this was a prime duty of the peasant, that they have to serve in the military at least 40 days every year. The peasant would be required to do any unpaid labor services like digging ditches, gathering firewood, building fences, and repairing roads and buildings. So these were expected from the peasant, that they'll perform these extra duties. There were one direct tax called tailed that was taken by the king, and it was imposed on peasantry class. Serfs, the other category, were serfs. They cultivated plots of land, but these belongs to the lord. Matlab they don't have their own lands. They only work on the lands of other people, especially lord. Much of the produce from this had to be given to the lord. They received no wages and could not leave the state without lord's permission. This is important. Their lives were controlled by their masters. The lord could decide whom a serf should marry or might give his blessings to the serf's choice, but on payment of a fee. So this was again a very important rule made for the serfs. Their lives were controlled by their masters. Now talking about the manorial state. Manorial state was basically the property, the land, piece of land which was given to the nobles by the king. That manorial, what manorial state used to contain? A lord, his own manor house, he also controlled villages. Some lords controlled hundreds of villages where peasants lived. A small manorial state could contain a dozen of family, while larger states might include 50 or 60. Almost everything needed for daily life was found on the estate. Grain was grown in the fields, blacksmiths, carpenters maintained the lord's implements and repaired his weapons, while stone masons looked after his buildings. Women spun and wove fabric, and children worked in the lord's wine presses. Children worked in lord's wine presses means every member of the peasantry section were performing some of the other task for the lord. The knights, another social group. From the 9th century, there were frequent localized wars in Europe. The amateur peasant soldiers were not sufficient and good cavalry was needed. The peasantry class who were earlier performing the task of foot soldier, they were not so good in fighting skills. So there was a requirement of a cavalry, such people who can fight for the lords. They were linked to the lords just as a letter were linked to the kings. Means the nobles, the nobility class is serving the king. Whenever the king requires army, they need to fight on behalf of the king. In the same manner, knights were appointed. Such people, such warrior group of people were appointed by the feudal lords. They were also supposed to fight on behalf of the lords. The lord gave the knight a piece of land. This is important. Similarly, the king, when the king used to give a piece of land to the nobles, in the same manner, the lords or the nobles used to give a piece of land to the knights and promised to protect it. In France, from the 12th century, Minstrel travelers traveled from manor to manor singing songs which told stories partly historical, partly invented about brave kings and the knights. It extended to everything between 1000 and 2000 acres or more, the property of the knights. It including the house for the knight and his family, a church, and other establishments to house his dependents, besides a watermill and a wine press. This was the granted land given to the knights having these features. Another social group was of monks. They lived in religious communities called abbeys or monasteries, often in places very far from the human habitation in the lonely places. Two or more well known monasteries were those established by Saint Benedict in Italy in 529 and of Cluny in Burgundy in 910. Men became monks while women became nuns. Like priests, monks, and nuns did not marry. They devote their entire life to the religion and the church. They contributed to the development of the arts. So, this is all about the social divisions that were prevalent in the society in the medieval time in Europe. I hope you like this session. Thank you for watching this video.